Hi guys, welcome to another episode of the Drama Surgery podcast. In this episode, I am covering Sweet Home Season 2. Well, really just the Sweet Home franchise, but Sweet Home Season 2 just recently aired and I have a lot to say about it because honestly, I don't know why I did this to myself. Honestly, the audacity of Netflix to air this 3 years after the first one and for it to be this rubbish, it takes guts. I don't know what they were thinking. For those who don't know Sweet Home is a horror sci-fi action drama about like the sudden epidemic of monsters that is, I guess, thought to be psychological in the lives of people. You know, something that basically turns them into grotesque monsters, right? So that's basically what this drama is about. It is, I would say, one of the first series or first few series that really, I think, showed Netflix that Korean dramas were a viable option back in 2020. Like, it was super popular when season 1 came out. It was just, a very fresh idea, and so, people really liked that, and so it really showed Netflix that their Korean dramas are like where it's at, right? It stars a host of popular people, especially season 2, which is something I have an issue with, but it basically stars, Netflix son, Song Kang. We call him Netflix son because he's been in almost like a lot of their dramas, right? Like he's Love Alarm, Love Forecasting and Weather or something like that. He was in Nevertheless. He was just really popular during that pandemic era. Like Song Kang was all that Netflix gave shows to, right? He was built on a lot of their shows back then. But yeah, it stars Song Kang as Cha Hyun Soo, Gominchi as Lee Eun Yu. It stars Lee Jin Wook as Pyeong Sang Wook, Lee Young as Seo Gyeong, Lee Do Yeon as Eun Hyuk. There are a few other characters, but honestly, I could care less because this drama makes them canon fodder. They are never really important to driving the story, so I don't care. And I mean, this is one of the issues I have with this drama. There's so many other characters, so many new characters that like I'm like, why are they here? They don't add anything. It just like it really pissed me off, amongst other things. And so, if you could not tell by my tone, I am not a fan of this series. And honestly, if I'm being honest, I was never a fan of Sweet Home to begin with. Then why am I doing a review? Well, just because I wasn't a big fan doesn't mean I didn't like aspects of it. Like, it was a good concept, good idea. It's just that there's just a lot of things that does not work for this drama that I would never have checked it out if it wasn't for those elements. So this review is really me talking about how much I dislike Sweet Home and Sweet Home Season 2 because honestly it's a hot mess. It's a hot mess, and again, the audacity for Netflix here this 3 years to make people wait. I was not one of the people that waited, just to clarify that. But to make people wait 3 years and this is what they bring out. I mean, I hope they cancel it. I heard they were already actually film season 3, so they'll probably show that first, and hopefully they cancel it after that because this is rubbish, and I am pissed. I'm pissed for everybody. Like, this was really, really bad. So yeah, that's what this like review is about. It's not anything serious. It's really just a rant about season 2 of Sweet Home because wow. I mean, did they change writers or something halfway? Like, I don't know what happened. So yeah, I'll just start just to talk about the things I dislike about this drama. First of all, like I mentioned, I never really liked season 1 to begin with, and for different reasons. One of the biggest reasons I never liked season 1 is because honestly, I just really dislike the protagonist. I've always hated Cha Hyun Soo. No one will understand how much I dislike him, right? Because to me, he just seems pathetic. He seems like a pathetic character, and season 2 really, really showed that to me. There's no character development to him at all. In season 1, he was this weak pushover that everybody could walk over, right? And okay, that's fine, right? But I assume at some point you grow as a character. But our character, like Cha Hyun Soo, never really, really grows. Like, the protagonist just remains this way, even in season 2. And I have a problem with that, right? Because when you compare him to like Eun Hyuk, they are so different that it almost feels like Eun Hyuk was supposed to be the protagonist and like they just made a mistake or something, right? He's that bad because honestly, I just feel like, how is this the character I'm supposed to root for? As compared to Eun Hyuk, right? Who I would say was very smart. He knew how to command people. He was a leader and everything. And again, that's why in season 1, I was okay with it because to an extent, I felt like, okay, he's probably going to get character development, right? And then season 2 comes. And he's just as annoying. Like, he's even more annoying in season 2 for me than season 1. Like, I don't know how, like, who came up with his characterization. He's so terrible. I hope maybe in season 3, by God's grace, that he has some character development, because at the beginning of season 2, he's still that self-pitying, like, fool that he was in season 1. So you guys might think I'm being harsh, but honestly, I don't see how he's relatable in any way, right? He's just so pathetic. Because, I mean, you see his fight with Pyeong Sang-wook, who, doesn't want to go to the facility and get tested on and, have to go through all this, like, rigorous, basically torture to find a cure. Because let's be honest, these humans, it's not like they are doing that out of the goodness of their heart. Like, they all have a reason why they are doing this, and they are not very nice about it. And so for Pyeong Sang-wook, he's like, let us form our own coalition of our kinds of people and, go from there. Because at the end of the day, this is psychological. And we'll come back to this idea of it being psychological, because they messed that up too. But Pyeong Sang-wook wants to go and, go with other monsters, the infectees that are able to survive. And I like his idea. His idea makes sense, right? But Cha Hyun Soo is like, no, like, I have to save the people. We have to know why this is. I will willingly be an experiment. And so he almost, like, just takes every abuse that people give him. Like, I don't know how a character is this weak and unable to, like, fight for himself, right? Why would you willingly go to a facility where this is what they do to you? You've seen this, you know how they are, and then you willingly give yourself up for this. In my human mind, I'm like, this is not a very human thing to do. No one is this selfless, right? People are naturally selfish and they like self-preservation. There's no reason why a person would decide, oh yes, for the sake of people that I don't know, that have treated me like shit almost through my life, I am going to go and try and save them. Why? And, like, that's how he goes. And so he goes and, he willingly gives himself up and he willingly takes all the tests and everything. And it's just like, ugh, boring. Where is Yoon-hyuk? Literally, I watched season 2 because I wanted to see if Yoon-hyuk was still alive. And honestly, I am also going to watch season 3 because they keep hinting at it. I don't know if they are doing that because they know technically without him, half of the audience is not watching this drama anymore. And I just have to say, on that point, when they are doing the experiments on him, right, I don't know why he had to be naked. And somebody has to explain this Netflix thing to me, because I don't understand why everybody has to be naked, right? Netflix and nudity, I don't know, like, is it a chicken and egg situation where, like, Netflix is like, can you show some nude scenes? And production is like, okay, we'll consider it, and that's how they do it. Because this was in The Glory as well, where I think it was the flight attendant that took off her clothes, right? And there was like full frontal nudity or something like that. I skipped that scene, actually. I didn't see it, so I'm not sure, but I heard that she was naked. Here too, same thing, Song Kang at some point, and then Idoyeon. And I assume they are body doubles anyways, but, like, still, what is it with Netflix and nudity? Is it a must? Maybe the production companies want to show nudity, and Netflix is one of the only platforms that will let them show that. It has to be one of those two, right? So I don't know which one came first. It's too much and it's unnecessary, honestly. But that's another thing I noticed, and I was just like, ugh, another thing I can hate about this drama. But anyways, let's move on, right? So another thing I really dislike about this drama is, like, the amount of new characters that are in this. I guess to an extent it makes sense, because finally they've left, like, the apartment complex and they are going out into the world where there are a lot of new people and everything, right? Which is fine, whatever, right? But there's just so many new characters and they don't add anything to the story that I'm like, why are they here? Why do they exist? Like, what is their purpose, right? Like, and they spend time showing you how these people are surviving, right? And what their actions are and all those things. And I'm like, what is it that is making them show these characters, right? I never understood that, right? So that's another thing I struggled with. I will say that I was kind of happy to see as many, like, military men. So there is kind of a double standard here playing. Like, I was very happy to see a lot of them. Like, they were just very handsome and there were a lot of them. I even saw the lieutenant that is from The Matchmakers, which is another drama that I'm watching. And, like, I was just really excited to see their scenes. But other than that, the characters in the stadium that were not part of, like, the main core soldiers, I just could never understand what they were there for. It was like they tried to cram as many people to, like, get them popularity. Because I feel like this is what is also going to happen with like Squid Games too. We'll see. But like when you have so many characters, you kind of lose plot. And like that's why I need to know, did they change writers in season 2? Somebody answer that question for me because I can't find out on my drama list. Like who is the writer for season 2? Because oh my god, don't ever hire this person again. Please, like if this is how the story should go, maybe okay, fine. But if this is like a new writer that's just messing up things here and there, don't hire this person again. Because I got to like episode 3, and at the end of episode 3, yes, we see that Song Kang's character has basically turned into like this stone figure that's kind of stuck in the lab, and so that's how season 3 ends. And you know, it's going well at that point. And then episode 4 starts, and literally 3 minutes into episode 4, I literally had to stop it and go back to episode 3 because I'm like, did I miss an episode? Like I was like, something is up. Like this is not what the continuation should be. Like at the end of episode 3, Soyeon gives birth, right? I assume that's where it will continue from, and then episode 4 starts, and it's like, what is going on? Like as time passed, and they don't like transition it well enough for me to like feel like they're not losing me. Like they lost me almost immediately, right? And it just feels like a different writer took on from that point, and I'm just like like a lot of these things matter, right? Like you don't just cut off your story, right, in that way. The main core group that we follow, suddenly we are following random people now, right? It's no longer about Cha Hyun Soo, who I dislike, but at least I know he's the protagonist, right? And now we are following random people in this bunker. The only person at this point that I'm watching for is Gominshi's character Eunyu, because she has a purpose, right? And her purpose has been clear since season 1, and it keeps being clear, right? She's looking for her brother. Actually, one of the only people that I felt like her story continued from season 1. Everybody else, I just don't know what. I was like, why should I care about these people, right? The lady that, you know, keeps them safe at the stadium, the one that took up like a gun to kill Yoonyu because he thought that you killed the lady that owns the stadium's like husband, like the sick girl as well that, you know, the soldier defects for. Like, why am I seeing the story of these people? It's not being cohesive, right? It made no sense. It just seemed like they were whiling away time, right? And the only people that I care about, right, where I would say Soi Kyung, right, I cared about because her story was kind of interesting in the sense that I wanted to know the continuation of that kid and everything, but they don't bring them back till like 2 episodes later, right, in like 6 or so, and that's when you see them again, and I'm like, ugh. At this point, they lost me so much at that point, to be honest. And even when they do bring it back, and this is where I have an issue with the changing of what makes people turn into monsters. Originally, we have the idea that it's psychological, and I like that idea, and I like the fact that they were going with that idea because you can still see the prejudice people have against others that are monsters, even though they know that anytime they themselves can turn into monsters, and that they themselves can get afflicted with this disease. But suddenly, with Soyeon's daughter coming into the scene, apparently when she touches people, she herself can turn them into monsters. And that idea did not sit right to me, right? Because it kind of makes it more of a issue that science can fix. And I guess, sci-fi is one of the tags in this. So maybe I was one that had the wrong idea, but I liked the original idea, and I would have preferred to keep it that way because then it kind of really opens your eyes to just how prejudiced people can be, even if it's something that can affect them. It's like climate change. Even though we all know climate change is happening and like it's bad for us and everything, you still have some people saying that like, no, like it's a political agenda. Right? Do you understand what I'm saying? So like in that way, it's just a very good idea that kind of mirrors real life, right? But I am not as fortunate as that. Right, so that just kind of annoyed me a little bit because it's just like, ugh. And if I have to say another thing that pissed me off, going back to Cha Hyun Soo and even all the characters regarding this prejudice they have, because Cha Hyun Soo is also really prejudiced about the fact that he is like a monster, right? I don't understand how he and a lot of people don't see that even when you're a monster, you can still have the consciousness to want to protect people. You see that with the monster, right, in like episode 1, episode 2, where the military men are trying to kill it, and you see them kill like a bunch of people along the way because panic and everything, and they're just scared and everything, and they are killing people anyhow, right? But you see the monster try to protect people. He tried to protect a child, right? You see, try to protect his own kid and stuff like that. And like this has happened over and over, where sometimes the monster will protect people, but like still, for Cha Hyun Soo, for some reason, this does not really start to him, right? Or maybe he does to an extent, in the sense that he does want a cure for it. But I still feel like to an extent he sees it as a bad thing, in the way that like Pyeon Sang-wook does not, right? Even Yoon at some point does not, right? So like these are some things I have with the like protagonist. Like the issue I have with the protagonist is this, that like he's just not able to see past the fact that he has this thing, right? He's not able to like hone it, which is just, it makes him so weak. And so I'm looking forward to Yoon York, right? Like hopefully whoever wrote season 1 and wrote Yoon York's character will come back, because if they give it to the person that wrote season 2, oh my gosh, whoever that person is, I really hope it's not the same person, because that person, like, take his pen and his laptop away from him, he does not know how to like write a good story, and he doesn't know how to continue a good story. So yeah, like honestly, this is a really really bad season 2. It's really really bad, like, and I don't recommend it. Don't bother. You just going to give yourself like high blood pressure, because at the end I'll just like, this is so, like, it's such trash. Like, how in the world did they think this was a good story, right? And like, I'm actually very pissed. Even though I was not one of those big fans of season 1, I still liked it to an extent, because New York's character kind of had carried, and you saw a lot of people grow, sort of sacrifices and stuff like that. And this season 2 is just, yeah. So honestly, if you don't have to watch this, don't watch it. There's nothing to see. Honestly, you can really skip to season 3 whenever that comes out, because this is just, yeah, no. Yeah, so that's really it for my rants. I could go on and on. There's really a lot I could talk about, but this would be this would be an hour-long episode, honestly, if I had to talk about every single thing I disliked. And so yeah, I'm just gonna end it here. So thank you guys so much for listening. This was fun, kind of. It kind of relieved a lot of my stress about this drama. So I really had fun recording this. Yeah, thank you guys so much for listening. I'll see you guys again next week. Have a nice day. Bye.